Hello, this is Tyson Farmer from TysonFarmer.com with an explanation of how to use my two-chord guided practice series of videos. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check out my playlist of two-chord guided practice videos after watching this introduction to get an idea of what they're like. I've designed my two-chord guided practice videos for beginners wanting to get better at playing their basic open chords and faster at playing between combinations of open chords. To get good at this kind of stuff, you basically have to do a lot of mindless repetition to get there. So each video features about 5 minutes of solid practice changing back and forth between two chords per video. If you're a beginner and this is all you do in the day with your guitar practice, you'll still find yourself improving quickly on these chord changes if you use these videos a few times a week. If you're somewhere between a beginner and intermediate level, you'll find yourself progressing even faster if you mix several of these videos up in any practice session with the chords you most need to work on. For a deeper discussion of practice and what that actually means in general, check out my video, What Does Practice Actually Mean and How Do You Do It? So here's how to use any of the videos. First off, an important disclaimer. All these videos in the series assume that you have already decided on a chord fingering for all the chords in each of the videos. For this reason, any chord grids I use in the videos will be more generic and not have any fingerings labeled on them, since different people have different chord fingering choices depending on what kind of hands they have. So if you haven't decided on your chord fingerings yet, you will have to do so before you can use these videos to your best advantage. Check out my video, How to Figure Out Which Chord Fingerings Are Best for Your Hands, to help you get started on this. Each video will go at the tempo of 60 beats per minute, or BPM. This is the same rate as seconds in a minute, as in 60 seconds per minute. So the words beat and seconds in these videos are interchangeable and mean the same thing. Each video will be titled with the two chords changed between and the amount of seconds or beats between each chord change, starting with a maximum of 8 seconds between each chord change to give you plenty of time to set up each chord. Each two-chord pair will also have different videos with different versions of beats between, working down to 7 beats between chords, 6 beats between, 5 beats between, and so forth, so you gradually get faster and faster between chord changes over time. I recommend starting with the 8 beats between version of the chord pair you choose and gradually work down to the shorter times as you feel you're ready. Each video will start with setting up the beginning chord and a count in to a strum on the first chord along with the background track. I will then count down the beats or seconds to the next chord change, during which you will have to be setting up for the next chord. This countdown acts as a hard deadline to focus you in on getting your fingers to the next chord as quickly and smoothly as you can. When the countdown is finished and your fingers are, hopefully, already in place, you will strum that next chord and start thinking about how to get to the next chord. You can do this strum with a pick or your thumb. It doesn't really matter since these exercises are just about your fretting hand for now. Then the process repeats back to the first chord. Now, although you'll see me in the videos taking my time with my hands before setting up the next chord, don't let that fool you. I recommend immediately starting to set up the next chord as soon as you finish a strum each time. I've been playing for multiple decades, and these chords are super easy for me to play. But if you are at more of a beginner level, you should definitely use every second between chords to your advantage by trying to get there early. So, here's an example. Let's take an example of the D and A chords with 8 beats between, which is the same as 8 seconds at this 60 beats per minute tempo. I will start like this and count down. Let's start with setting up the D chord and I'll count you in. Alright, set up your D chord. Take your time, get it all right, get a good start. Alright, ready? I'll count you in. 1, 2, here we go. D, change to A, and 4, 3, 2, 1, strum A, change to D, and 4, 3, and so forth for a good solid 5 minutes of practice on not just the D to A chords, but also the A to D chord changes as well. In other words, just practicing changing from D to A doesn't necessarily mean that you are also automatically good at changing A to D. So each video effectively works your skill at two chords in two different directions, D to A and A to D, for example, or G to C and C to G. If you get lost or fall behind during the video practice, you don't have to start all over at the beginning. Just try to pick back up on the next change as it comes around and get back into the swing of it when you can. So that's the basic method. If you just dive right in, you'll probably get the idea quickly and find these videos fairly intuitive and useful for you. At this point, you can feel free to explore the Two Chord Guided Practice video playlist if you already know which chords you want to work on. But if you don't have any idea what chords you want to start with, I'll show you next how to formulate your own practice game plan. So, which of these videos and chords do you start with? As in all things with guitar, I recommend you try to make your practice musical and as fun as possible instead of making only a hand exercise. This is why I make these videos with background tracks of music that we play along with, instead of just the traditional method of counting you through them. Even if the background tracks are a little cheesy sounding at times, or not really a style that you're into, at least they're way more fun than playing to the mindless click of a metronome, or just playing the chords back and forth by yourself with no music or rhythm. You could choose a video at random, but I strongly suggest that you use the following trick. First, decide on a song that you want to learn to play. Next, look up chords and lyrics for that song in the search engine of your choice. Find the first two chords that are in that song beginning with the lyrics, and then find and work with the Two Chord Guided Practice video that has those two chords in the song that you want to learn. Once you feel you've gotten halfway decent at those two chords, find the Two Chord Guided Practice video that has the next two chords in that song. If you're not sure what songs you should start with, check out my video called How to Choose What Songs to Learn Based on Chord Names. For example, if the song you want to play has D, G, A, and D for the first four chords, then work first with the D to G two-chord guided practice video, then eventually proceed to the G to A two-chord guided practice video, and then to the A to D two-chord guided practice video. And like in the case of this example, if the chord progression repeats itself, D, G, A, D, D, G, A, D, you're good to go for a bit of the song since it starts with D each time and repeats the whole chord progression in a loop. And by the way, if the two chords you want to work on are, for example, G to D, but you can only find a D to G guided practice video in my playlist, go with that one since the video works D to G and G to D. You can think of each chord pair exercise as a bonus practice for when you find a song in the future that has the chords the other way around. If you want to practice longer than the 5 minutes for each guided practice video, then just repeat the video over again for 10 minutes of practice, or even mix it up, like D to G for 5 minutes, then G to A for 5 minutes, and so forth. Work with these videos at least 5 to 15 minutes a day for a few days a week. You be the one to decide when and how often, and you will find yourself quickly building the skills that you need to start making everything you do sound more like music. If you're in the intermediate stage, you can go for even longer as you feel you're able, but if you're a beginner player, I don't recommend going longer than 15 minutes per session, so you don't risk early burnout. You're better off doing shorter practice sessions more often than one huge hours-long marathon practice session where you practice until you drop. And just like cramming for a final exam, the info won't stick for long if you do that anyway, so that's actually kind of a waste of time. In other words, think in terms of the long view here. I hope these videos help you, and hopefully they make the repetition part of practicing at least a little more fun. If you like my teaching style, be sure to check out my channel for other tutorial videos and check the links below all my videos for more teaching and music class resources that I offer. I'm always adding to my video channel when I can, so check in often to see what's new. This is Tyson Farmer from TysonFarmer.com. Thanks for checking my channel out, and stay self-motivated and keep playing.